SecturaPaq is cloud-based estimating software, so I can just come into a browser, and when I come in, I'm already logged in as a user, but we can go in and we can attach to any types of CRM you may have. We have full configurations, so we do this in advance, but you can see I can set things like my different material types, the way I want to do my cost modeling. I have customization, so we can tie into other programs. You notice my REST APIs, and I can set up my whole organization. Once I'm ready to do a quote, I just go into quotes and say new quote. Now that I have a new quote number, I can come in and pick an organization name that can be read from my CRM or from any other database where I may have my customers. I'm going to come in and pick my shapes library, and it'll take me right into the library where I can preview designs. So I want to do a Rollin Carton, so I'll just start typing RE for Rollin, and I'll jump to the style. I'm able to pick materials, so you can edit from my board tables. I can have as many or as few of those as I like. I can change my quantities. I'm set for a Kongsberg here as my cutter, but it could be a Zund or it could be any other brand of cutter that I may need. When I'm looking down on the bottom here, I can change the size of it. If you look to the left on that preview, it's going to change as I change the dimensions, and tab through, you'll notice that it resized. I'll change my board to 1/8 for B flute, and I'll change my width. Watch the left when I make the change. It's going to resize. I have these little previews, so if I'm a new user and I don't quite understand, there's notes for the design. So it'll tell me things like I need to have length bigger than my width. Then I'm just going to add a new line item because this is the item that I want to quote. When I have my new line item here at the bottom of the screen, I can just expand it, and you'll see that I'm set for that Kongsberg that I quoted for, or it could be any cutter. I can then start seeing the cost set for that. So now I want to take my one carton and generate the nest. And you'll notice when it comes up with a nest here that it's doing all the calculations, telling me 8 per sheet, and I need 35 sheets. Those purple ones are my extras, so I'll have 5 extra on the last sheet. So now I need to get my print, so I'm going to add in my printing operation. So I just pick my printing. I want a digital print. Then when I scroll down, I can pick how many sides, if I want to do 1 or 2 sides. So I'm going to pick 1 side. I could change my ink coverage, so maybe I'm 100% on one side or 50% on the other. I add that operation. And then you'll notice now I have my secondary costs with my inks. I'm set up for cutting and going to an HP printer, could be any printer. And now I'm getting all of my costs added together. So now that I have my costs, I can see my primary and my secondary costs. I have control and can adjust everything. So I'm just going to complete my quote. And when I complete the quote, I'm now going to be able to have different options. If I'm hooked to an email server, I could just email out any of the forms that I might want. When I can also come in and output a quote. So I can say, all right, I want to do a quote detail. So I just pull up that quote detail, and you can see it's going to fill in all the data for me from my quotation, and I'll be able to just print it and send it out.
SecturaPaq makes it easy to quote multi-part displays and packaging. If I have multiple parts in an item like this display, you'll notice I have different quantities. The bottom pieces I have more. So I'm going to call this a counter display. I'll copy over all my parts. I'll say I want to have 125 displays, and I'll add it to a new assembly. So notice it multiplied across the quantities at the bottom. It 3 times 125 gave me 375 parts. So I can complete the quote and output a spec form that has all the costs per my line items with the correct quantities.